Dr. J here with you, continuing through the list of alternative milestones for the week of June 14th. And that was just a set of the milestones from this past Monday. So let's go through those. Right there was Mika, or Micah. Not sure how you pronounce that one. But the album was No Place in Heaven, and that celebrated its 5th anniversary on Monday. The song there was Talk About You. Before that was Cowboy Junkies. Monday was the 10th anniversary of their 13th album called Renmin Park, which was actually the first of a set of 4 called the Nomad series. And we heard the title track, Renmin Park. And the inspiration for that album was the experience of their songwriter, Michael Timmons, in China. He brought his wife and his 3 kids there for several months to kind of absorb the culture and visit the birth villages of 2 of his adopted children. So it made quite an impression on him, and he wrote that album about that. Also, 10 years ago on Monday, Devo, their first album in 20 years, their 9th, called Something for Everybody, and we heard the song Fresh from that. It was 15 years ago on Monday that Jamiroquai released their 6th album called Dynamite, and we heard the song Don't Give Hate a Chance, which seemed like an appropriately titled track and some good advice for these very turbulent times. It was 30 years ago on Monday that Soundgarden played their first show with their brand new bassist, Ben Shepherd, show in Seattle. I picked the song Somewhere from their album Bad Motor Finger. The song that new guy Ben Shepherd actually wrote the lyrics and the music for. Shepherd had auditioned for the band back in 1989 when their original bassist left, but they wanted somebody who knew the songs better, and they took somebody that they knew, Jason Everman, who didn't last very long, but he was actually a temporary 4th member of Nirvana for a few months, and they got rid of him, and then Soundgarden picked him up for a few months, and then they got rid of him. We talked a little bit about him probably back a couple of months ago. We had a milestone for him with his stint in Soundgarden there. It was 35 years ago on Monday that OMD released their 6th album, Crush, and we heard the song So In Love from that. And that's another song that was almost scrapped, but it got a second chance, and it actually became a bit of a hit. Their first hit in the U.S., actually, which was kind of what they were aiming for with that whole album, Crush. So I'm sure they're glad that they didn't get rid of that one. And the song before that was a debate that I had with myself. Do I even bother putting it on the list? And I did, mostly just because we could all use a little bit of a smile. 40 years ago on Monday, Chipmunk Punk came out. We heard the Chipmunks version of Good Girls Don't. And that album actually began when it was the son of the originator of the Chipmunks was listening to the radio one day, and the DJ accidentally played Blondie's Call Me at double speed on the radio, and he came on and joked that that was the Chipmunks' new hit, that trying to cover up his mistake. But the guy who was doing the Chipmunks at the time heard that and said, hey, that's actually not a bad idea. So he put together that whole album and kind of resurrected the Chipmunks, because his father, who started it, had passed away, and it was pretty much done. But that was the rebirth of the Chipmunks. And Rolling Stone called that album a symptom of corporate greed. And the other thing about that album is there's no punk music on it. It's called Chipmunk Punk. It sounds good, but there's no punk on it anywhere. They've got Linda Ronstadt and Tom Petty, couple by the Knack, the Cars. That's about as punk as that got, Blondie. Anyway, and we started the set by saying happy 55th birthday to Mark Thwaite, who is a guitarist who has kind of made the rounds. He's played with the likes of Peter Murphy and Gary Newman and PJ Harvey and Alanis Morissette. He was in the band The Mission, which has put out a lot of music. From the 2003 Gary Newman remix album called Hybrid. We heard a version of this wreckage that Mark Thwaite actually did the rework on and did the mixing on. And Mark Thwaite ended up going out on tour with Gary Newman in 2013 after the original guitarist set for the tour, who was actually in Nine Inch Nails, had to go back to Nine Inch Nails. So Mr. Thwaite picked up the slack on that 2013 tour for Gary Newman. Let's see, the midweek this week was pretty sparse as far as milestones go. We had a day with none, a day with one, but we're going to combine them all. Here's that set, and we're starting with Nate Roos on the only YouTube channel that matters.